gang here, and we got another special guest. You know, we switched up the pattern a little bit. More time we're having guests in the studio and that, but we have special guests that are allowed to come into our home, the headquarters, aka the Green 360. You get me? So with no further ado, you know, let's start this off. Obviously, we got the gang. You know, obviously, let's run us through the situation, bro.
Money way.
Money.
Me.
DJ. It's me.
Me.
It's me. Obviously, Ish is behind the camera. He can't really speak too tough. He's a man of very little words, but when he speaks, it's efficient.
Nah, you listen, you know. You listen to the advice he gives because his life changed.
I'm telling you, PT Ish is a different kind of Ish. Get me? And then obviously we got the superstar, the guy that's just out here making live films like on a whim.
Big moves.
Man, I'm not even giving him 10 racks to make a film. Probably even 0 racks to make a film. He's still making it, bro. Are you understanding that?
Young John Singleton, bro.
You get me?
Come on.
We got Rose Singleton in the house. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, he's a very established filmmaker in the industry. He's someone that's obviously a friend of mine. And he's dropped something very recently, a film called Why. You should definitely check it out. And you know, we're going to break it down today. But yeah, let's get straight into it.
See, I was going to say that as a creator, that process I find is the hardest process. Where you're overcritical and you're seeking the perfection.
Yeah.
You might not ever finish the project at that rate, you know?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see. How did you end up actually getting to the final stages, or at least the production stage?
Boy, I refined that script about 5 times. And it's only like a 4-page script. Yeah. So
the film is what?
Four and a half minutes. Yeah. So literally, once I finished the final script in December, January times this year, I was like, I need to focus on the visuals. So I did like smaller projects to figure out shot types and how aesthetically I want to take it. So it got to the point where I did the smaller projects. I learned from them. I like these shots. I like that shots. And then I put it into the final production in April, which was just a beautiful experience.
You know the smaller projects you done? That's the web series you have on your Instagram.
Yeah? Yes, it was. It's called Off the River. So I used. I used. I used my camcorder. I used my 3D Nashika. Yeah. I was just figuring out compositions, edit style, playing about with aspect ratios to make sure like it's hitting what I need it to do. And it's like even like as small as like the aspect ratio, I wanted to make sure that it made sense for what I was doing. So like for example, like the aspect ratio, I did the 3:2 to signify British people living life with their blinders on. So I used that shot when it's a stereotypical shot of a black man. So it's like in a hoodie or whatever. And then when they were being themselves, I switched back to the widescreen. So there was just like that constant contrast and just to make it feel...
It's subtle nuances like that which makes you a fucking genius.
Nah, it does.
Literally. And I've seen the correlation between the short series that you made, the web series that you made, those shots and how you've kind of integrated into Why.
Yeah.
You know, with the handheld, with the camcorder, with the different types of shots, with the mixing of messages by like, you know, how you put the... it wasn't a riot, but who was the brother that went through there? Hey, that shit was so funny. But it was that, and obviously it ended off with a punch. And then obviously went straight to the contrasting scene where you went into the blocks, right? Was that when you went into the blocks?
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about his film called Why, so if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. We'll
put the link in the description.
100%. So, with that being said, obviously, back to the timeline sort of things, because I really want people to understand how a 4.5 minute video can take you, obviously, more than 4.5 minutes to make.
Yeah,
you know
of course.
So, you said you started writing in January, correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, so I started writing this film July 2020.
Okay, so...
Last year.
And then January, what happened then?
January, that was when I had the final script.
Okay, final script.
January, February, I worked on smaller projects to finalize the project. Yeah. April, end of April, from the 28th to the 1st of May, shooting, all of May, editing, and then promo started 4th of June. With
Then it dropped in July.
yeah, so I gave it a 1 month.
1 year.
No, but
From
he's
start
efficient
to
though.
finish. Yeah, 100%.
But I was gonna ask,
You could have
though,
took way longer.
did you doubt yourself at any period of time?
Oh yeah, that always crept in with this project. Like I was like, is it gonna hit the way that I need it to? Is people gonna understand it? Like, of course, the subject is very touchy for some people. For me, it's just like it isn't. So I was like, are people gonna be comfortable actually watching this?
Yeah.
So it's like, am I actually gonna start a conversation, or is it just gonna be falling to the wayside? And reality, it didn't.
Was the subject matter, did it help you push through the self-doubt?
Yeah, definitely. For me,
Beginning yourself.
exactly. For me, it's like I knew what my voice was, I just didn't know how to use it. And then this was something where I essentially became an advocate or an activist, where I was like, you know what, I've been through this myself. I need to show people that this is what's actually going on, as opposed to it's all hearsay, this doesn't actually happen. You need to physically show it in something that actually hit home. Do you know what I mean?
In a way, your point of why was basically something you experienced yourself and you had to overcome whilst actually making the film.
Of course,
It's quite ironic that you was talking about that, because obviously that self-doubt, you're thinking of the people that wouldn't basically believe or understand your side of the story.
Basically.
And again, that film is talking to people that will probably not speak or understand your story. Do you feel like the people that have watched it and the audience that you was questioning understood the end product, or at least gained some sort of information, or did the objective of the film actually change and it's just something you wanted to use your art to push an agenda or shed light on?
So my objective for the film was, one, like, piss off white people.
Yeah.
That's a one.
And
that's
for
pretty
me,
good,
I was like, I wanted to piss people off.
Yeah.
And the second one was to understand a new perspective. Like, the whole marketing around it was see Britain from a new perspective. It was like, see it from a point of view that you're not used to. And that was like the whole thing I pushed. I had a conversation actually with someone I worked with, and she was like, how when she started watching it, she was like seeing the stereotypical black people and everything else. And then when she saw the ending, it's like she saw the chaos, and then she saw peace towards the end, and then the end credits. And then she noticed how I put everyone's heritage and something they're proud of.
Dope.
That was very
Dope.
And
I was like, oh shit.
Bro, how'd you make it?
Literally, yeah.
do you know what I mean? And
Proud of songwriting and all these little, it's even the little stuff. I'm
Bro,
just like,
yeah.
that's exactly what you should be proud
Bro,
of.
trust, I think the variety in what you're proud of.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Some of them are just, I'm proud of finding my voice.
Yes.
do you know what I mean?
Which is just as important as being, or to someone else that's, been featured in Vogue, for example.
Yeah.
I like that part of the end credits where it was like, oh, I finally found my place sonically.
Yeah.
I finally found like my creative voice. That was like really good.
It's
you know what I
important
mean?
for people.
Yeah.
And even
That's-
if people don't even understand.
Just to say it.
Yeah, people, that's what changed the perspective, because it's just like, oh, they see the hoodies, they see all of this stuff. So they just think, oh, he's just one of those guys. But as soon as they saw that, they were like, oh, wow. It kind of made them like,
Humanizes them.
basically, yeah. And it was just like, wow, okay, this was something that made me have to stop and think about what's actually going on in the country. And to be fair, loads of people where I work were actually like, yeah, this made me really think about things. And I was like, yeah, that's good. And
I
it's
should
like,
stop hating niggas.
literally. So it just started that conversation, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I appreciate the art on a serious level, because there isn't enough people that I know personally that are as functional with their creativity and their voices in particular in the space of being black.
Do you know what I mean?
It's usually like, oh, I'm a black creative that's dope at this, but like you wouldn't really see the level of activism that they actually think they represent, or even they represent it. So it's definitely a good thing. I feel like it's like you're setting trail to something.
Yeah, for me, like, I've always wanted to produce visuals like that. I just never knew how to do it. So it's like now that I found my voice, it's like I want to continue championing black stories and telling a new perspectives, and actually telling a story that isn't necessarily black trauma, but it makes you understand like these things are actually happening within society.
Why is that distinction important? It's not necessarily black trauma, but understanding the things that's happening in society.
I think for us, as black men, what we see in the film industry, we always see like the perspective of a white man. We see the crazy white man. We see the happy white man. We see the beautiful. We see all these different versions of a white man. But when it's a black man, it's always a criminal, drug dealer, blah blah blah. It's like that's not the case. It's like we are vulnerable. We do these other things, but we don't see it. So for me, I want to show that part of being black, so that it's like you see a softer side, and it's like, oh, okay, there's more to black people. It's crazy that we have to do stuff like that, but it's necessary that we do it so that they know that we're not just one thing. We're not just criminals. Yeah. It's not a case where you have to cross this road when we walk past, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
But you know, when it comes to like us as black people, so we're operating in a society that's pushing out negative narratives of what we are.
Yeah.
And some individuals, they fall prey to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They start believing and pushing those narratives.
Yeah.
So, like when it comes to black people being vulnerable, in some environments in the end, it's hard to be vulnerable around demanding.
Yeah, for real.
How do we overcome that?
For me, I went through like a couple years of like therapy and everything else. So I learned how to be vulnerable. Like therapy does that to you. You need to be vulnerable, because if you don't address it, you're just gonna continue living that life where you're just like, basically. So for me, I learned to say I love you to my mandem and to my friends, and that's something I've never actually done before. And like the group of people I have around me, we're all comfortable to say that to one another. It's not like a case where it's like no homo thing. It's like literally, it's like we genuinely
a running joke here. For
real. So it's like a case where we were like, we're comfortable to talk to each other like that and just be vulnerable and tell each other that. So it's a case where I think a lot of men actually need to go to therapy. They need to, because the amount of trauma and stuff that they've been through, they don't actually realize.
The way we just deep root that,
it's so suppressed.
And just keep it stepping.
Therapy has a negative connotation around demand. They take it stuff from weak people do, or crazy people do.
There's something wrong with you.
Yes, not necessarily.
Well, there's something wrong with all of us. To be fair, though,
it might be, but it's not abnormal.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Not.
Everyone has issues.
Exactly. I think there's a trust issue with like going to therapy and just mandem as in general, because I think like the whole healthcare isn't catered to black people. So it's like a case where we're forcing ourselves to go there. It's like BMI. It's like it's catered to white people. It's like black people are
mad that you even brought that up. That's so mad. I only learned that recently. I said this game is so rigged.
Literally,
everything is rigged.
From the very beginning.
Literally,
body mass index.
Exactly. That's
the game wasn't made for us.
It's mad.
But we have to keep dancing though.
It's mad.
That's exactly. That's why we're constantly on the fight and we're always having to prove ourselves. We don't have to. It's like, especially, but going back to the therapy thing, it's just like, we don't actually know how to talk to people like that. We don't know how to express ourselves because it's so suppressed. It's like you're going in as like a big man, going to someone else that you don't know to talk about things from your past. It sounds daunting to do then, but once you actually let go of that, you find the level of peace. For me, I found that the final day of shooting, I went home and I legit just sat there and I was legit crying. Like someone was like, "Yo, I'm proud of you," and I just sat there and I literally cried. And I was like, it was so freeing to know that.
So much.
I'm telling you.
Hearing that.
Thinking, I didn't think anyone rated my thing, to be honest. I thought it was this much work.
Yeah.
And finally someone's recognizing me. Wow.
And I was like, it was such a vulnerable moment to just sit there and be like, yo, I'm mentally free from something now. So it really helped, honestly.
That's dope. I appreciate the fact that the film actually makes you feel like that, because the energy comes across when we're even speaking about it. You know, some people are making films to make money. You're making a film to send a very specific message, a very important message. And it's brings me to my next point. Like, obviously, the film's called Why?
Yeah.
Which is obviously a powerful question. So, what was kind of the inspiration towards that? Such a broad but powerful, title.
So for me, I studied graphic communication at uni, innit? And like one thing they always like said to us, you have to question everything, and it's just 3 words, 3-letter word, why? It's like, why did they do this? Why have they done that? So it was a case where you have to question it to the max so you get a better understanding of things. And that's what I did with this film. And I was like, how can I find a way that it's just like hard hitting and it's straight to the point, and it's like, it's just a direct question as opposed to like dancing around it. I just wanted to get straight to the point. So with those questions, I wanted to make sure that it's to the camera, to the point, and it leaves you questioning why. It just leaves the audience questioning why.
So
why
you want
is
the
that?
audience to actually think about?
I think that's a great title because not enough people in this country ask that question, especially when it relates to racism and the conditions that black people and just poor people in general have been put in.
Exactly. I think in this country, they know the racism is there. It's just they don't want to acknowledge it. This country is built on racism.
Too much work.
Because that means they have to take responsibility.
And accountability as well, which they just don't want to do. So it's like,
I had a part to play in this fuckery.
Exactly.
Not me.
I had a part to play.
I got plenty of white. I got plenty of black
Exactly.
friends. I got my sister.
What does that mean?
Literally.
Yeah, literally. So I'm glad you brought that up. So one person I spoke to about the film, she was like, she has a mixed race niece, and she's gay. And she was like,
That part makes me part of the marginalised you guys, right?
Yeah.
The same.
You.
so she was like,
Struggling. Yeah.
she was like, she's never actually spoken to her about being a mixed race lesbian.
Yeah.
And like, being mixed race, you're not either seen as black or white.
Yeah. Even though you're fully both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the middle floating around. It's like you're receiving hate from both ends.
Yeah.
And then adding being gay as well,
Yeah.
that's just like a double intensity.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, I'm actually going to speak to her about stuff like this because you don't actually know what they're going through. Like
100%.
suffering in silence, but you wouldn't know that until, unfortunately, they try to commit suicide or something crazy like that. Do you know what I mean?
Because suicide is not just, or those serious kind of, emotions aren't, well, suicide is an emotion, but getting to that point leads to some serious emotions, and those emotions aren't something that just comes up in a day.
Exactly.
It's built over time through serious events and incidents that mold you, basically.
And also, the environments are built to be stressful.
Yes.
And us as young children have to navigate through it. And if I'm being honest, if you are from an ethnic minority and you grow up in the ends, the safety net is not there.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's not there at all.
Yeah, literally. I remember growing up. So where I live in a council estate, and I've lived there all my life. I don't see a problem with it. Like, it's a house.
flats.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then opposite me, there's like £1 million houses.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy how it's built like that. But so there was this girl I used to go to primary school with, and her dad, he used to bully me and my family because of it, and like he would just insult me all the time. It was just racial.
Big man, you know?
This is like a big man. These times I was like 5, 6, 7.
What?
And he felt comfortable to bully a child
Of course he did.
the same age as his own daughter.
Yeah.
And he did that until he died. Like every time you see us, you actively ignore us. You just,
Hey, we're not celebrating, but
do you know what I mean?
Rest in peace.
yeah, man.
But for real, it's literally like he would just like constantly just look down on us, and like there was a situation where he was saying all these big technical terms, but these times my sister's a scientist, so she knows exactly what it was.
Oh no!
And then she
You've
responded.
been had.
She responded back in his simplest form, and he didn't like that. And then from there,
nigga speaking to me. They're educated.
exactly. So yeah. So it's literally all this is just stemmed
Love
from
those
like
moments.
personal experiences and stuff like that. It's just
Sorry I had to go through that, bro. Shit.
it's part of the process. It's a nasty process, but
Which process? The growing process?
yeah, growing. But
In that
environment.
environment.
And that's interesting. That happened to you when you was 5, 6, 7.
Imagine.
until about
And-
13 or so.
Jesus.
And the crazy thing is, some white people they don't want their kids learning about racism. But when when do you think black kids learn about racism?
Imagine.
And how do you think
in real time?
Yeah.
It's not in school.
Exactly.
On the job experience.
You know the one on the job, like
Yeah.
you wake up
In the
and you're just
lesson,
getting banged.
It's worse because you've got outside of school and then you've got institutional racism as well.
Yeah.
It's like you're looking recently. I don't know if you saw one school. They banned this girl from having dreadlocks, and like the whole school protested the thing because of it. They literally won the case because they just like, nah, we don't like dreads, we don't like braids, we don't like this, we don't that.
No skin fades, no shape ups.
Imagine again, hold tight, Joe, man.
Do you know what I
Shout
mean?
out, Joe. You get
For
2
fuck's
shout outs.
sake, man.
And it's just like, what? How do you, how does someone here affect the way they work?
No. But
Go on.
I'm not gonna play devil's advocate. But
Okay.
I'm gonna explain how them man fuck it up. Yeah. So if you say the
Wait. Specify who's them, man.
So for example, the whole why the film is about narrative. It's about how the media portrays us based on how we react.
Yeah.
So, for example, London is poverty and wealth side by side.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? You turn a corner, shit ends. You turn another corner, estates and houses you'll never afford.
Yeah.
Back to back. So you have the rich man looking out the window and he just sees threats.
Yeah.
And the threats have brown skin.
Yeah.
He turns on the news. Another kid's been starved. These hoods
Looks exactly like this.
Yeah. He opens the window. He's like,
that's
they're outside again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the threats again.
So it's that constant cycle that we go through.
Yeah.
I don't know if you man have seen this film called Widows. Steve McQueen, I think, or Barry Jenkins. But anyways, there's this shot he does that is like, it's a perfect example of showing like these two divides. It's literally, it's like a pan shot. It starts off, he enters the car from the left, goes in, you just see fancy houses, and it just constantly pans to the right, and it's just like to the hood. No, it's the other way around. So it starts from the hood, and then it just pans, and then goes into a posh, and then he comes out the other side, and it's just like, it was literally, he turned one corner, and it was just like, the social divide is insane. Like, if you ever get a chance, definitely watch that film for that shot specifically.
What was the film called again?
Widows, yeah.
Is that the one with Viola Davis and Neeson?
Yeah.
This movie's critical over
I
here, bro.
Trust me, but
I'll watch that.
for that scene alone,
For Viola alone, I'll watch it.
yeah,
For Auntie Viola alone.
honestly.
Oh, she's the one where she's crying there and she's in the dress and that.
Yeah, do you know that shot where Daniel Kaluuya is like, it's like a 360 shot and they're beatboxing and then he caps him. You know, definitely watch it.
Widows, okay, cool.
It's a good watch, honestly.
I have a follow-up question,
Sure.
I was raised in Ireland, So being raised in Ireland, I was a refugee, So we grew up in a council house. So everyone around us was poor.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. It's either white working class or just foreigners and refugees that pumped in.
Yeah.
I come to the UK, the first time that I have to deal with like the wealth and the poverty that exists in London. So like perfect example I'll give is Brixton.
Yeah.
If you walk down Brixton,
it's chaotic.
It's chaotic, but it's a mad type of chaos in the sense where the amount of people you see walk down the street that's mentally ill, just traverse it.
It's mad.
And you have to learn how to navigate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I remember
you see somebody beatboxing and froth coming out. And
bro.
Thinking, Jesus.
Bro, it's like, because of the fact that this environment that I navigate through, I have to deal with them in a more human way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember one time, me and a group of friends were cycling from Brixton to Battersea.
Yeah.
It's a nice little cycle. It's a nice little cycle.
Then there was some girl that we were with that's not from Ends. So we're driving through Bricky, and this woman that's walking on the street, obviously she's going through a breakdown. Everyone else drives past. The woman stops. Do you need help? Now the woman with the breakdown is attacking the girl that stopped.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, I have to jump in and stop it. And I look at her, I'm like, you're not from here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is not the London way.
Yeah, you just walk past.
Yeah, literally.
As harsh as it sounds,
it's mad.
I think for me, like living in London, being raised in London is such a flex that you don't actually realize until you leave London.
Yeah.
So like, I lived in Wales for 4 years, isn't it? For uni.
Oh, nice. Oh yes.
It wasn't nice, but it wasn't nice, but it was like I didn't realize how much I appreciated and loved London until I was in Wales. there's no diversity.
Yeah, the ignorance.
There is diversity, but it's literally like Fonthill. It's like you got like Asians, Turks, and all that.
Outside of that,
that's it. Literally, there's one road where it's just pure kebabs, all of that, and that's it. It's not diverse. There isn't an understanding of like black people or anything like that. I'll tell you one thing. My first year, there was this guy, and he was like, "I'm the first black person he's ever met in real life."
Oh wow!
In 18 years of living.
Men's.
And that has stuck with me since. And I'm just like, how is that even possible? And it's just like, it's just crazy to know that people haven't experienced diversity or anything like that.
Did you get any like weird questions about being black?
Yeah.
Touch your hair.
Yeah. They touched my hair. And it's like, and then one guy was like, oh, they don't like when you do that. And I was like, you didn't need to say they. You could have just said black people.
Animal, bro.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was just.
Guy's done it before as
well.
Yeah,
100.
For real.
Yeah, don't
I'm
do
like,
that.
what?
Shanika told me not to do that shit.
So yeah, literally, I had experiences like that, and you don't realize how much white women fetishize black men. I never realized it until I had a similar situation happen to me, and I'm just
big.
Yeah, you're big lad, you know.
Literally.
Yeah, I've never done blacks before.
So it's mad, isn't it? It's so mad to know that.
But that's how man them fall, because again, it's the lack of attention. I feel like from well.
But when you deep it, like when you're like talking to girls, like girls don't talk to you like that normally. Like when you're back home, girls don't talk to you like that. But when you get out somewhere where you're saying the only black girl, one of a few, and then you're like you stand out way more than usual.
Yeah, basically.
It's weird, so it's confusing. It's like, oh, why am I getting this attention?
I like that though.
Men, niggas don't get that attention.
Yeah, literally. I'm getting pumps.
Just
off the rip.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed.
Do you know what I mean?
Because of what they think.
That's how you.
It's a stereotype
thing.
thing.
Makeup on your mouth.
Luckily, I didn't have that, but yeah, literally, it's like I think it's a case where you kind of fall into the environment you're in.
Yeah.
Because there's no other black people there, you're naturally going to be drawn to what is there. And in my case, it was white women. But I haven't gone back to that side. But it's just like, but it's like literally like you can see. I remember one time I knew Mandem were lost where I was, where we're in a club and this girl, do you know like when they do their relieving dancing and they're just like all that stuff, right?
I'm screaming.
Do you know that? Yeah. When they're feeling
Becky
stuff.
does the tips.
Yeah. And like one Don saw her and like she had a nice boy. I ain't gonna lie, she did. But like he saw her and my guy saw her as well. And because he saw how he was like moving closer and closer to her, and then my guy was just literally scooted in front of her and started dancing behind her. That's when I was like, nah, man, them are lost. And I was like, nah. For me, from that point, I was like, nah,
Man,
never
playing
again.
the game very dirty. Man, playing the dark arts. No pun intended.
Yeah,
Dark arts.
literally,
No
bro.
pun intended.
So it's like, yeah, like situations like that.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's
nah.
a sad sight though when you see the lost ones still.
And I think it's just like how man them speak on black women as well.
Bro.
Wait, touching that.
Yeah.
What you mean? As in man? Because then again, I didn't grow up in London.
Oh, okay.
So growing up, I had no black people around me except for church. So no
That's
one's
home,
speaking
fam.
bad about the aunties, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, you got it good.
Yeah.
Some man them here will just talk down on black women and just essentially just make themselves look more powerful to impress a woman that will throw you away the moment you're not any use to them anymore.
Yeah. Or white guys that you hang around.
Yeah, literally. And it's just like they feel so comfortable to talk down on the black woman. These times, you're raised by a woman,
It's mad.
you've got female siblings, you've got aunties,
It's mad.
you've got all these significant women that raised you.
So you think all of them are ugly and you hate them all?
Exactly. And
Really?
you're just talking down on them. And it's just like, how can you mentally go process that? How do you feel so comfortable to say stuff like that? Do you know what I mean?
Do you think it's ignorance, being socialized, or like self-hate?
It is, yeah, literally.
And it's built up animosity, unresolved issues.
Yeah.
Whatever.
the lack of attention
it could be anything.
from probably other black women that you may have fucked with in and them things.
Let me flip it, yeah?
Alright.
When I'm interacting with certain girls, them, because of the black men they've been with in the past, they say they're not fucking with black men anymore.
See, but
Same thing though.
see where he's going. Because she's fucked with black men in the past.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Some of these men are talking about black women, crazy. But they haven't even beat it.
Yeah.
They're purely virgin.
Yeah.
So
Purely
just because you
virgin.
got rejected by... What makes you think a white girl's not going to reject you?
It's you see that logic when you start like getting case by it's not even people get hurt by one particular thing or one issue or whatever that they haven't necessarily fully resolved, but they'll get like the partial answer and then generalize it across the board.
Yeah.
And I feel like that happens with, again, going back to your film, that happens with white people looking at black people, that happens with dating when black people are looking at other black women or other white women compared to that. You know, it's a lot, but just to wrap it up, I know it's been a sweet one. Saka, Sancho, Rashford, Sterling.
Bro,
They didn't come home, but we seen firsthand the exact thing you're talking about in your film. Why, happened to Raheem Sterling, and obviously since a couple men have missed, it's happened to the man that listed as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, and what is their significance with you?
So the first question I asked in the film was, why are we British when you need us to be? And it's like, we're immigrants when we fail, but royalty when we prevail. Time and time again, it happens. You have it with Anthony Joshua.
Yes.
Remember when he lost to Ruiz?
Bruh.
First thing, man's Nigerian.
Drug dealing.
Bruh. Do you know what I mean? Even though he's white, Andy Murray, British when he wins, man's Scottish the moment he loses.
That's mad.
We have it in several cases where it's always we're British when we do something that serves British people. As soon as we leave, disowned.
Windrush.
There we go.
Mad. The man them built.
Come on.
They begged us. They begged us to come.
Basically.
To come rebuild the country.
And
you couldn't even give them citizenship.
That's the maddest one.
Is your grandparents Windrush generation as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, same with my grandma.
It's mad.
Yeah, my grandma, she saw what was going on, and she's like, nah, dead this. Straight back to Jamaica. But luckily, my mum and two of my uncles were born here. So when my mum moved back, it was the easiest process to get a passport and all of that. But going back to all of it, it's just like, we'd have to serve you, but you can't just do something basic as a citizenship or treat us with dignity. Yes, but we're not even asking for a lot. That's the maddest thing about it.
We have built part of the nation, if not
all of it. All of it, bro.
If not all of it.
It goes back to the empire.
Modern Britain looks like now. It's off the backs of
imperialism,
and then especially in areas like Birmingham, London, up north.
This
purely
the Asians and the blacks and the ones.
That's what I love about this country. It's like it's two different types of England depending on where you operate.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Step out of a city, different country.
Yeah.
Like,
Different
this
country.
is our fucking England, and then you got this is England.
You know what I mean? But it all goes back to the empire.
Yeah.
If you didn't want us to be here, why did you go?
Why did you come to our country and tell us how great your country is? And then on top of that, you beg us to come to your country as well.
It's mad.
Maddest thing, fish and chips, not even British. What's the first thing they go for a takeaway? I want
chicken tikka with tala.
Do you know what I mean? We do all of this stuff.
Go for the juggler.
It's big. You get respect and dignity, not even from people, citizens, everyday citizens, and then the government itself as well.
Have you seen that Instagram post? Football without immigrants.
Yeah.
Only 3 men in that squad are purebred English. Harry Kane's Irish.
Declan Rice is Irish. Jack Grealish is Irish.
But the way the game works is that it's white, it's English, it's white, it's coloured. So if you're Irish and Welsh, you can fit into the white category when it's convenient to them.
When it's convenient.
Yeah. Because I agree with you, like, English and Irish, white, what is white? It's not one uniform whiteness, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But these niggas right deep, though, they hate all the colored people strong.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's most of Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, yeah. So, like, seeing them man receive the treatment they have, even the stuff that's coming out after the final, this is our Lions, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, they missed. They're going to be fine. They'll...
Professional footballers.
Do you know what I mean? It happens. It's going to happen. It's not like... Let's be real. They didn't really think England were actually going to do something significant in this tournament. They were threatening about France, Germany,
even Denmark.
Because once France got out and they beat Germany,
they said
they started to believe.
Ole.
It's coming out.
Do you know what I mean? And it's
but
just
the
like
vibes that would
fair
happen.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
If you're not the favourites and the favourites come out and now you have a chance. Fair enough. But it's like it's football. It's like.
It's a game.
As much as I love the game, it's just a game.
Do you know what I mean? For me, I'm not heavily invested in football like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, look, the black guys, they're doing well. They're doing what needs to be done. Yeah. But as soon... I see what Southgate was trying to do, though. It's like, bring on the black people last minute. They score the goal. Everyone's together. It didn't work out. The strategy from the whole tournament was poor with his subs anyways. But, like, just knowing that it was... a 23-year-old, like 21-year-old, and a 19-year-old
smoking crack,
taking pills for in the most.
He's taking crack
for like 50 years.
Therapy.
That
All of this, all we've been talking about,
setup.
therapy. Like it's all gonna go back to that. Like that's way too much pressure on a 19-year-old.
100%.
And then the backlash of that, the abuse you receive after missing.
It's mad.
I see what.
Return back to niggas again.
And
Sancho doesn't
exist. You know what it is about black men?
Yeah,
we don't like things be made a big deal out of, as well. Whether it's good or bad, we don't want like too much of a fuss being made, and then they're probably seeing how as much as it's supportive, there's a bit of performativeness to it.
Oh, there always is.
With like we stand by our three lines.
Britain's quite good at that.
Yeah,
once you look past the performativeness, you see it's actually empty gestures.
It is.
For example,
he was doing all this for NHS.
All of that.
Come on, man. A clap.
What have we done for the NHS since then? Not even we, because it has nothing to do with
when you had a chance to do something
class or anything like that.
You refused to do it. Not you did nothing. You literally
you went against it. You know what? You cut the NHS. You know,
bro.
Several times.
Do you know the amount of black people that have been suffering because of COVID?
It's mad.
Since my sister hasn't stepped foot in the hospital since last year, fam.
It's mad.
Like, do you know how mad it is?
Started with the healthcare and how black people are treated with that one. The amount of miscommunication, mislabeling, all of these things of serious procedures. People have actually have died because of this. No, it doesn't get much serious than that.
I think I have one last question to ask you.
Sure.
You ended by asking, why can't it be a United Kingdom?
That was a bit of wordplay, but it was just mainly wordplay.
He said,
right. But is that a realistic goal for there to ever be a United Kingdom, or
it never will be?
Never will be.
If we're being honest, it will never be a United Kingdom. How can we? It's such a generational thing. Another film that you should watch is 42, featuring Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. Like, there's a scene that is so powerful where he came onto the pitch and he was getting ready to bat, and all the crowds have just shouting at him, calling him the N-word, all of this, blah blah blah. And there's a little kid who was excited to see him play, but then he sees the whole crowd calling him this, that, and whatever, and then he's like, "Oh, I should do the same," and he started calling him that as well. That's what's happening here in Britain. That's not going to change until it needs eradicating, and it's not going to happen like that. That's why we need to have conversations like this to start that process.
Making people uncomfortable, bro.
You have to. You're going to have, a lot of white people have lived their life too comfortable. It's because they haven't experienced it or seen it happen around them, it doesn't exist. That's what I had when I was in Wales as well. I share my experiences. Oh, that didn't happen because it had to happen to me.
Yeah.
That's not what I didn't say what I'm saying for you to say, oh, that hasn't happened to you. I'm saying because this has happened. And
so what you should be doing is listening.
You should listen. You should actually understand. You want to hear a new perspective. But people aren't trying to do that right now.
Because it doesn't serve them. If you're in a position of power, why do you want to be removed from the position?
That's the thing.
Especially when it's built off of fuckery.
Fuck up the money. See what changes happen.
Yeah.
But that's the end goal, though.
Uncomfortability,
you have
right
to
there.
fuck up the money.
Fuck up something that's in their best interest. See the changes that will happen.
So how do you
cause discomfort?
Yeah.
How do you plan on moving forward?
No worries.
How do you plan on moving forward then? Are we talking production companies? How you really plan to change this? Not only for yourself, but obviously for the community.
Yeah, for visually in films, I want to tell more black stories. There's projects down the line. 2022 seems like it's gonna be a beautiful year in terms of storytelling for me.
100%.
In terms of like the Mandarin community, long run, I want to be able to create like a studio or just like a workspace for young black creatives and just people of color, so they have something that they can come to, and they don't have to pay for it. They just come in. There's like MacBooks. There's all of this stuff where they can come, produce their work, and then like develop their career. So it's like I'm talking like having lawyers so they can understand business and taxes, financial, all of that stuff to put them on the right platform in the future so they can actually build from it.
I fully support that, by the way.
Production wise, I'm just still figuring out like who I want to be in my team and what works for me and what, like just figuring out who I can work with and just build that platform of different people. I don't want it to be a case of just like nepotism or anything like that where I just bring people on for the sake of bringing people, and I want to make sure that we elevate together. So yeah, down the line there's some good projects coming on.
We're on the same vibe as you, so if you ever need any help, Charles.
100%.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, CK did the premiere.
Yeah, appreciate
did the video for the premiere. Got a good response for that as well.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You put me on.
No worries, man.
God, I appreciate that. Shit, man, this is a family thing, bro. Mob ties, baby.
For real, for real. Thank you for having me here.
Man, it's been fantastic.
Thanks for coming.
Literally, this is like the beginning. You've already set a precedent for us. We haven't had a guest here. Well, an official guest. You're probably like, the first actual.
Oh wow, mad.
So, yeah, man, it's a good start to kick it off with.
Appreciate that.
And we're looking forward to doing more collaborations and having more chats with you.
Definitely.
Things like this definitely need to be shining on the community. So yeah, it's more about the message, I feel like.
Definitely.
Well, yeah. So we're gonna wrap it off here. Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
No problem.
You need to have a private conversation because I want to pick your brains and a couple more stuff.
Yeah,
sure, no problem.
People get my questions.
Yeah. But the film's out. Why the film?
Yeah.
The link's gonna be inside the bio.
Back. Check it out, please.
If you see any of our socials for the coming weeks, I'll be up on that as well. Yeah.
Back.
Just stay focused.
Yeah, please enjoy it. Take it for what it is.
It was a pleasure, man. Shit. Once again, CK from there, you understand, you know it is. We got Rojal in the house, the master maker, the filmmaker.
Money way.
The only way.
DJ on the way.
Yeah, I mean.
Back again.
We got the super-ish. Can't say too much, but he's so there. You get me? Thanks for watching. Shit, then.